But going into that further, that's where you have more choice. First of all, you have the choice when it comes to your hardware. You don't have to buy exactly what they tell you to buy. You have a lot of options for different graphics cards, different manufacturers for different graphics cards. You can upgrade when you want, or if you don't want to upgrade, you don't have to. If the timing isn't quite right, you don't really want to upgrade, you don't have to upgrade. If you want to upgrade your CPU, well, you're probably going to have to upgrade your motherboard and your RAM, but once you do that, then you're pretty much golden for quite a while. Because of the fact that you have the ability to customize your settings more, your hardware can last a whole lot longer than it would otherwise. The reality is that if it wasn't for the fact that I made the decision because I had a bonus and some extra money that I could use to upgrade my monitor and then upgrade my CPU, I would have been on the same hardware that I've been on since 2018. And I was still running games at 120 FPS on the majority of games. Some of the more demanding ones were more like 70 to 90, but I was still pretty happy with that. But I was never forced to make those upgrades. And the nice thing is that even though I made those upgrades, I didn't have to upgrade everything. I upgraded a few things that were required, but because of what I went for, I'm in a pretty good spot to where I shouldn't need to upgrade for another probably 5 to 6 years. And even then, it's never required because most games are still going to run just fine on the hardware I have. I will probably inevitably upgrade my GPU at some point, more just because it wouldn't hurt to do so. But I could probably keep using the same GPU for years on end and I would still be golden. There's people who are still rocking their 1080 Ti's, which came out back in, what was it, like 2017? Something like that. It was a while ago. People still rocking these old GPUs and they're running games just fine. They're perfectly happy with the visuals and performance they're getting. And, you know, considering how expensive GPUs and CPUs and all that could be sometimes, ultimately it's probably worth it. So, once again, you have choice when it comes to your hardware. You're not required to upgrade in order to play the latest game. You don't have to worry about your generation not being supported. A lot of times, even if the quote-unquote minimum spec is higher than your graphics card or whatever, you can still play those games. You just might not necessarily get the exact same performance. But the reality is that you're not required. I mean, imagine you had your PS4. You wanted to play a game that is out on PS5, but because of the fact that the PS4 is not powerful enough to run that, and furthermore, because there's no PS4 version of the game, you're out of luck. You have to buy a PS5 in order to play it. With PC, you can have something that came out 12 years ago, back in 2013. You can still run your games today. Now, how good a performance you're going to have is going to vary quite a bit, but the reality is you have the option. And even if you decide that you don't want to make those upgrades, you don't want to be able to play the latest games, you can still play all of your old library. And I know that for a lot of people that's not necessarily going to be good enough, but you have the option to play what you want and how you want. Something else I want to mention with hardware choice, you're also not limited to having a desktop. You can have a laptop, you can have a Steam Deck, you can have a ROG Ally, you can have a Lenovo Legion Go. There's all sorts of different options for how you can play your PC library. You can play the same game on whichever PC device you want, all with a single purchase of the game. Being able to play games like Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, God of War Ragnarok, Ghosts of Tsushima, Kingdom Hearts 3, Metal Gear Solid 5, Death Stranding Director's Cut, Horizon Forbidden West, Persona 3 Reload, Metaphor ReFantazio, and Expedition 33 on my PC, that is my desktop, my laptop, or my Steam Deck, was just huge. And most of those games I can play on all three of those devices. Some of them are worse than others, like Horizon Forbidden West runs pretty terribly on the Steam Deck, and so I only did that for a very limited amount of time before I moved on and just stuck to my desktop and then eventually played a little bit on my laptop as well. But having that freedom made the choice to buy those games on PC over console that much easier, because I knew I was not limited to playing these games on just one device and could make progress on my games no matter where I was. And that is something that is immensely helpful, because I could not tell you how much I love handheld gaming. And if I have the option to play one of my games from my PC library on my Steam Deck, that's almost always going to be the way I play it, because I just prefer handheld gaming so much. But the other thing is that not only do you have the option of doing these different devices, if you so choose, to be able to take your PC library with you on the go, or, what have you, you can also stream your PC library, usually with free tools. And there's a lot of free tools, in fact. I mean, you can do it directly through Steam. There is the old Steam Link device, which they don't make them anymore, but you can track them down. They're not too hard to get, and they're really easy to set up, like super easy. I've used my Steam Link that I bought late, like right when they were discounting them, selling them on a fire sale, getting rid of them, and I use it occasionally. I mean, I don't play on my TV all that much, but when I want to, I can just grab my Steam Link. I can play directly from my desktop in the living room, so my kids can watch me play, or I can play games with them in the living room as well. It's all of these advantages that you have when it comes to choice of hardware that just make it immensely helpful.